Let's go to Victoria now and catch up with Liberal MP Zoe McKenzie. Plenty to talk about there, Zoe. Thanks for joining us again. I want to start off on renewable energy, and this is something we know, but there's a figure being put on it today in Victoria, and they're talking about $200 million a year of subsidies going to overseas companies that own wind farms in Victoria. I mean, this is why they put the wind farms in, and this is why they don't care, they don't charge anything for electricity, because it's the subsidies that make them the money. But of course, we all pay those subsidies. They get added to our power bills. That's why our power bills are going up, right?
Bruce, we are indeed paying some of the highest electricity bills in the world. And of course, we were all promised a rebasing of our electricity costs. We were all going to get $275 more back in our pocket, not being paid out in our electricity bills, but instead we've seen nothing. On average, people are paying about $1,000 more a year for electricity. Now, when it comes to investment in the infrastructure, Chris, you and I met when I was working in trade. I'm not going to be the one to say we shouldn't be bringing the best expertise to Australia, developing our industry here, bring on an EU FTA that the Labor Party hasn't been able to do because they have to answer to their union masters. Nevertheless, I'm all in favour of European investment in Australia. I'm about to go to a citizenship ceremony here, which is why I'm not with you in the studio, celebrating the investment of others and the know-how that they bring to our beautiful country. So I'm all for European firms bringing their best technology and their best people to Australia, but we need to remember that ultimately we pay the price, and by golly, we are paying hand over fist for energy in one of the most energy-rich countries in the world.
Well, I'm in favour of foreign investment too. It's how we've developed this country, but I'm not in favour of subsidies. And when our people, our power bills are subsidising profits for overseas companies, you can understand why so many Australians are concerned about it, especially when our power prices are way too high. Let's get back to those other cost of living issues, though. And the news today, the inflation ticking up a little, but not as bad as some people feared, and it looks like, obviously, next week, very little chance of another interest rate increase, and possibly that's it. Possibly we've topped out with interest rates. So how confident are you that the next move will be down rather than up?
Look, I've heard all explanations today, and one of the ones I've also heard is if it doesn't go up next month, then there's a good chance that interest rates will go up repeatedly through 2025. So I think there's a fair amount of let's wait and see in the Australian economy. We don't have to wait long. The RBA meeting is next week, and we'll see what's happening. But let's be very clear. There's nothing that this government is doing to make this any easier for the Reserve Bank to do its job. $315 billion extra spending, indulgences like $500 million on the Voice, and constantly putting more money into the economy and expecting the RBA to just kind of hold its breath and hope for the best. So we'll see what happens next week. Yes, 3.8 is better than what some were expecting at 3.9, but we still have one of the highest core inflation rates in the whole world. We are the top of the G10, and that's not really the top of the totem pole I think we should be.
Yeah, there are a lot of RBA governors and treasurers in the past who have picked these things wrong, and the one thing you don't want to do is wait too long to put a lid on inflation again. So that'll be worrying Michelle Bullock, no doubt. Here's Treasurer Jim Chalmers again today.
I'm not in the business of giving free advice to the Independent Reserve Bank. My job is to manage the budget responsibly, along with my colleagues in the Cabinet and in the government, to deliver those big surpluses, which the Reserve Bank Governor has herself said is helping in the fight against inflation.
Yeah, Zoe, he says he's not in the business of giving the Reserve Bank Governor advice, but he clearly did through tweeting today that that's it, it's all on track, everything is heading downwards. Basically, don't put up rates, please.
There was careful verbally, right, from the Treasurer down to Pradeep just a moment ago with them telling the Reserve Bank what they needed to do. Well, guess what, Jim Chalmers? Your job is to manage the Australian economy and manage it well, and don't leave the RBA out there alone doing all the heavy lifting. That's his job.
Indeed it is. Thanks so much for joining us, Zoe. I appreciate it.